Hello, folks. This is Mark, and you're listening to Facts Face Left. On this channel, I'll be creating content that discusses leftism, anarchism, communism, and other traditions emerging from the works of Karl Marx regarding the capitalist structure we currently live in, and someday aspire to surpass. In addition, I'll be trying to include content on the study of genetics and the impact that our improving understanding of the basis of life may have on our society as it exists today, as well as how it may affect the communist future. But for today, given that this is the first time I'm creating a piece of media for YouTube, or really for anywhere at all, and I want to be clear, I'm not a media savvy person, I'm just a huge nerd. I want to start by discussing who I am, my positions, and what my intentions have been and are for creating this YouTube channel. I'm an able-bodied cis male, queer person of color, a second-generation immigrant, and I was born and raised in North America for the most part. I grew up with a significant amount of class privilege. I had the opportunity to study at well-funded public schools and later attend university where I graduated with a degree in molecular genetics. When I was younger, I was never concerned that I would not have enough to eat. I've never had to work to support my parents, and I did for the most of my childhood have an intact nuclear family. I'm bisexual, which means that I find characteristics typically ascribed to genders both other than my own and of my own to be attractive. I'm a person of color. My parents immigrated from South America when they were young and raised me to speak Portuguese. And I've had the privilege to return to visit my family on numerous occasions. So why did I just give you all that information about myself? Well, I believe it's important to contextualize my experience for those who I would ask to listen to me. If I misunderstand or misspeak, if I share an idea contrary to someone else's, understanding how I came to be the person I am will better ground my basis for saying or believing the things that I do. This isn't an excuse or something to free myself from culpability for saying or doing the wrong thing, but rather it's kind of a selfish exercise so that I can challenge and be challenged by those from other experiences that will help us all better understand how we inform our perceptions. Politically, I grew up being largely liberal-minded. I'd focus on small, incremental reforms to improve the conditions for people using state mechanisms. I was the kid who, from a very young age was arguing with my friends about why the United States should have a universal healthcare system rather than having health insurance. And while I still believe that government reform under capitalism can and should improve the material conditions of life for the people, my beliefs now are that a true freedom, any kind of real liberty, is just not possible under capitalism. I don't think I could point to a singular moment where I was radicalized, but if I'm being totally honest, the dominant structures around me didn't seem to try hard to convince me that capitalism was worth saving. The idea that in the Western world I live in, it's some sort of meritocracy, that those who work hard and take risks will rise to the top. That was never really anything more than a cartoon in the background of my reality. I don't really want to get too into the weeds with this. I intend to make more videos talking about leftist ideas, so if people become interested, I can do a how I got to my positions video. So why am I making this channel? Well, really it comes down to that I believe in leftist ideas. Workers should own the means of production, and should self-govern their places of work. Capital incentivizes cruelty and dehumanizes and alienates us from people, our labor, and the wider world around us. Unjust hierarchies are just that. They're unjust, and should be dismantled anywhere where they exist. Racism, sexism, ableism, homophobia, transphobia, and imperialism, all of it needs to be destroyed. I also think right now that communists are losing the propaganda war. Our enemies are numerous, and they are and always will be better funded than us. They engage in censorship, harassment, threats, and violence to silence us, and they shout their ideology far and wide to people that we need to have on our side. I want to help build class consciousness, and I think there needs to be as many voices repeating these messages over and over and over if we're going to reach these people. I remember distinctly a stream between American Johnson of Non-Compete and Thoughtsline that discussed this point exactly. LeftTube insofar as that is a thing, has sometimes shied away from creating content that overlaps and repeats what other content creators in the same space have made, while the right has absolutely no problems doing so and will create what is effectively the same video over and over across all their platforms and all their propagandists. So, I've been inspired recently by content creators like Suck My Opinion, Non-Compete, Angie Speaks, Peter Coffin, ContraPoints, and so many others to add to my activism the job of online propagandist. I'll be leaving links in the description to a ton of great channels putting out awesome content, and I would love if people would let me know of more so that I can add them to the list. I don't intend on monetizing this channel in any significant way. I don't want to make this my full-time job because I already have a lot to do. But if people want to support what I'm doing, I've set up a Patreon that I'll leave in the description, and we'll hopefully be doing some live streams to raise money for a real microphone that is not integrated into a $16 headset, so that, I don't know, maybe I can stop sounding like I'm shouting into a can of beans. And maybe I'll get a camera. Who knows? For anyone who watches this video, thank you for listening. I've come to the end of what I intended to do with this short one. If you liked hearing from me and you want to hear more, leave me a like and a subscribe, and make sure you hit the bell, because apparently that's how we confirm that we actually want to see what we say we want to see these days. Yeah. You can also see my anemic tweets at FactsFaceLeft on Twitter. I'm so sorry, but I just joined that horrific platform, and I'm still getting used to that merry-go-round of terrors that is Twitterland. Anyways, other than that, thanks a lot for listening, and have a nice day.